The objective given to all participants was to code the best strategy for the dice game Pig. To play, you roll the dice and the total sum is added to your turn total, at which point you can choose to either roll again or not. If you roll a 1, you lose your turn and receive no points. If you roll Snake Eyes, you lose your turn and you lose all your banked points. If you roll doubles, the total value is doubled, but you must roll again. Once a player reaches 100 points, every other player has one chance to beat that score. If someone does, this process continues until a player starts their turn with the highest score above 100, at which point that player wins. A C# console application program was given to all participants to code their strategy function. The task was to create a series of logical statements that, given a state of the game, the function would calculate whether to roll again or not. While the task given to players was to make a strategy assuming all participants would be playing together at a big table, I've also ran every strategy against every other strategy in a head-to-head format to see how the strategies interact, and so a participant can claim superiority over another. Starting us off, we have Patrick, the guy who suggested we hold a competition like this. His strategy checks 4 conditions where he should roll again. If he's within 15 points of the win target, if his potential score is less than 10 plus the max score, if someone else is within 15 points of the win target, or if anyone is above 100 points. In all other cases, he stops rolling. This is a sensible strategy where there's clear purpose in each condition, the type of strategy I was expecting from people. Anton, on the other hand, submitted this. I'm not sure what it does, but it appears to take into account the scores of specific players, which by all means shouldn't matter. It's also one gigantic if statement without clarifying parentheses. Opposite to Patrick, Sammy specified when to not roll again based on how far ahead or behind he is, becoming more aggressive the farther he is behind. He's also more aggressive when another player is about to win. If Zach is about to lose, he will keep rolling, otherwise he stops rolling if he's already rolled 3 times or if he hits 19 points. Riley chose to have a mostly random strategy, where half the time he returns true, 1/6 of the time he returns false, and 1/3 of the time he has any semblance of strategy, where he rolls again if he's close to the win target, otherwise stopping. Bryce opted for a straightforward strategy where he will keep rolling until he's in the lead. If he's already winning, he tries to score at least 20 points, stopping if he can win. Garrett wanted to have a strategy that changed based on the positions of the stars. From this idea, he made a horoscope-based strategy where each sub-strategy was based on the definitions of each sign. However, instead of determining which strategy to use by the date, it determines it via nanoseconds, so each strategy is run. For Aries, he rolls 3 times before stopping. For Taurus, he keeps rolling until his score is prime. Skipping Gemini for now, Cancer keeps rolling unless the score is 117 or greater than 120. Leo has some kind of random chance. Virgo has an actual strategy similar to Patrick's. Libra will play catch-up if behind, similar to Bryce. Scorpio only cares about being ahead. Sagittarius is a coin toss. Capricorn always goes for the win. Aquarius is a different flavor of coin toss. Pisces is weighted random. And back to Gemini, which looks like this. This is one giant assignment statement with nested inline if statements. I don't really know what it's doing, but I do know that if it gets here, then it will randomly determine a different case to go to. But to prevent an infinite loop, he can't have it go back to the same case. Instead of preventing this 12-sided die from rolling a 2, he re-rolls it until it's not 2. This entire strategy breaks all kinds of coding conventions. Similar to Sammy, I decided to go with a strategy that would adapt to how far I was either behind or ahead. I calculate the lead, and if I'm winning, I will stop rolling if I could win, or if my turn score is greater than a calculated number based on the lead. Else if I'm about to lose, I keep rolling, otherwise stopping once I've hit a calculated number. And now for a surprise appearance from ChatGPT. I copied just the code file I sent participants into ChatGPT, and from the comments it understood the assignment and outputted a runnable strategy. It aggressively tries to get close to and stops just before hitting the win target. There's some obvious logical flaws there, but when asked to improve, it spat out something much worse, so I took its first answer. And for our second surprise guest, even to me, we have my father. But before going over his strategy, I need to cover a rule described in the comments I wrote. It reads, "You are not allowed to cheat by modifying existing variables such as player scores in your function." You may notice that I did not say that you weren't allowed to cheat in a different way. He elected to hijack the language's text output so that whenever I would normally print the results, it would instead print, "Steve won. Steve always wins," Bwahaha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha. While I appreciate the creativity in my dad's rule bending, I did not allow this. His actual strategy was to stop rolling if he can win, otherwise keep rolling if anyone other than him has more than 70 points. If neither of those are true, he rolls a single time if his potential score is at least 69, otherwise a maximum of twice. So, whose strategy will perform the best when simulating 100 million games? Let's run it! Bryce, congratulations! Turns out, aggressively refusing to not be in first is the best strategy in this format. What's fascinating to me, though, is that I expected a strategy like this and made sure I could beat it. In fact, I did beat Bryce in the head-to-head. But in a situation where all our strategies face off simultaneously, his is better. And that's why a competition like this can turn out so interesting. And here's the head-to-head results. Or is it? These aren't really the head-to-head results because it is excluding one matchup. You see, while most matchups were around 50-50 or 60-40, Zach won 97.5% of his games against Anton, which shouldn't even be possible, so what's going on? If we take a look at Anton's strategy again, he takes into account Zach's score. Specifically, we see here that if Zach's score is greater than 1, Anton returns true. What does this mean? If Zach ever has a point, because the lowest he can score at a single time is 5, Anton returns true. Forever. Which means Anton will keep rolling until eventually he rolls a 1. Which means if Zach scores, Anton forfeits. The only way Anton would keep playing is if Zach rolls Snake Eyes and gets his score set back to 0, at which point Anton banks every roll, giving Zach as many chances as possible to get a point. This is an absurd interaction where Anton catapults Zach's average head-to-head win ratio into first place. Congratulations, sorta! And that's it, folks. Here's everyone's head-to-head results to close it out.